How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather Stranger. Today is March 10th, 2021, and today we're gonna take a look at the potentially major and historic Midwest snowstorm that could bring historic snowfall totals in some areas in the Midwest, as well as a potentially major severe weather threat in the southern Midwest states, as well as the Southeast. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by taking a look at the European model right around Wednesday, the March the 10th, right around the 6 hour mark, and you see that for most of the United States, it's quiet, especially the eastern half, where we're seeing two dominating ridges bringing spring-like weather to a lot of the United States with temperatures much warmer than average. However, things do get a little bit concerning when we head further westward, where we see a multitude of troughs coming off the Pacific Northwest, and we already have a trough that's going to meander in right around the Midwest very early in the morning, and this could bring a decent amount of snow to northern Midwest states. You see, right around midday on Wednesday, we see a pretty large and defined area of snow right around South Dakota and Nebraska, and we do see for at least a formidable low pressure system out of this, because there's going to be just enough unstable air. There's going to be just enough of a jet stream dip to induce some of this convection to create a somewhat formidable low to bring snowfall to a lot of the Midwest states. So you guys definitely need to keep in mind head for today right around the northern Midwest states, because this could dump a decent amount of snow. If we continue to move forward, you're going to see that the storm does strengthen as it moves up northward, and we do see the snow become heavier at times, especially more northward, right around the Canadian border, where we do see the heavier snowfall rates as a result of this strengthening low pressure system, where it kind of transitions itself into more of a mid-latitude cyclone type of low pressure system. Because before, initially, you see that the low pressure doesn't really have any characteristics, if at all, of a mid-latitude cyclone, where we mainly see the convection far up to the north, where when typically in a mid-latitude cyclone, we see convection occur on the eastern side of the low pressure system. However, since the storm is expected to strengthen, and it's going to encounter an area where there's going to be increased instability, we will see that extending band of rain on the backside of this, which represents that this storm will definitely strengthen, and this squall line could bring some severe weather in the Midwest. So I'd say even headed into Thursday or very late Wednesday, you guys right around Missouri, especially in Kansas, need to watch out for that possibility of maybe a severe thunderstorm. I don't expect these thunderstorms to be very tornadic, but there could certainly be the possibility of some of these thunderstorm bands producing large hail and damaging winds. So keep in mind that right around Missouri and Kansas, and this will dump a decent amount of snow, like I said, throughout the northern Midwest for today and headed into Thursday. If we take a look at the Futurecast radar, you're going to see that right around Wednesday afternoon, it should be the worst for a lot of South Dakota. And moving forward, Wednesday night into very early Thursday, northern Minnesota should be at the worst of it. And then it should completely leave the United States, I'd say, just before noontime on Thursday, which is good news. It's going to be a relatively fast mover. However, it's not good news when it comes to the roads, where we're going to see a decent amount of accumulation that could cause havoc on the roads if you're right along the trajectory and path of this storm. If we move forward with the snowfall forecast, you see a very formidable 3 to 6 inches is forecasted from this first snowstorm. I'm not even talking about the next major snowstorm that is forecasted to come very, very soon. And you see a very large area of 3 to 6 inches, and even some areas right around 6 inches of snow, which is definitely significant. And some of the snow could fall at a very fast pace, especially closer to the Canadian border, where the storm will be at its peak intensity. So you guys need to pay close attention to this for today and tomorrow. And if you're within the trajectory of this storm, I'd say right around South Dakota and just north and just to the northwest of Minnesota, of Minneapolis, you need to pay close attention to this and might want to make second plans traveling tomorrow because those roads could become dangerous. But moving on to the much bigger snowstorm that's forecasted to impact a large part of the United States, we have to take a look at this trough that's coming off the California coast, which we've been talking about over the past several days, where the forecast models have been forecasting a trough to move through the California into the California coast, and along with it bring very cold air, which will pretty much set the stage for unstable air right around the Midwest, which will enhance the storm's potential when it comes to exact the exact power of the storm and the exact strength of the storm, and that will create a major snowstorm in the Midwest. You see the trough meanders over the southwestern United States before it interacts with the very warm Gulf of Mexico water, and once it does so, we're going to see increased instability, increased convection, which will eventually change over to snow because there's going to be just enough cold air right behind this trough to support snow throughout Colorado. And just to the east of that, we're going to see the chance of severe thunderstorms thanks to the very cold air associated with this low pressure system interacting with that very warm air, creating a lot of lift in the atmosphere. And when there's rapid lift, that usually induces severe thunderstorm activity because when there's very unstable air, that increases the chance of damaging winds. And when there's unstable air, that increases the lift of the atmosphere. And when it increases the lift, we're more likely to see hail form as a result of that, and even tornadoes when a lot is going on and a lot of movement is going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And we do see some squall lines on the backside of this, and we do see just heavy snow extending through Wyoming, the South Dakota, Nebraska, and a lot of Colorado. Even Denver is involved. So this won't be a storm that will only affect the higher elevations. This will affect you guys in Denver, Colorado as well. So you need to pay close attention to that if you're right around Denver, Colorado, and you see that this storm meanders over the same area for hours as the jet stream is going to sort of tilt itself into a negatively tilted jet stream. And what that means is that the upper level winds associated with the jet stream are going to turn pretty much opposite of where the westerly winds would typically go, which is from west to east. If we take a look at the GFS model and at the height and MSLP anomaly, you're going to see that as this trough moves further eastward, you're going to see that it's going to be cut off from the original jet stream that brought it down south to California. And when we talk about a cutoff lows usually move very slowly because they aren't under the influence of the very strong upper level winds of the jet stream anymore, and they're sort of on their own island. It's essentially, let's say you're surfing behind a boat. If once you let go of the boat, you lose all of your momentum. That's the best example. I couldn't think of a better example at the moment, but pretty much a low pressure is pretty much on an island. It's separated from the jet stream, which was a huge factor in steering this further eastward. And as a result of that, it's going to move very, very slowly. So it's going to dump just a lot of snowfall over several hours, which will definitely enhance the risk of just having historic snowfall totals throughout the Midwest states, including Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, and even South Dakota could get involved. But what I do find interesting is that, unlike the previous models, we are now seeing a shift in the models where now they're more lenient on bringing this storm further southward and further eastward a little bit quicker than initially expected. While yes, I did say that this is expected to move slow over the same area. However, after it meanders over Kansas for a couple hours or a couple days, it's not going to move as far north as initially anticipated, and I think it's as a result of the weakness of ridging towards the southeast, because this ridge was initially expected to be much stronger, which would steer this storm up north before turning it straight towards the east. However, it seems like the ridging towards southeast is now a lot weaker than the forecast models initially anticipated. So as a result, this storm is going to move a little bit further southward than initially expected. And that might be good news for a lot of you guys who don't want to experience any more snow or any more of a major weather event, because since the low pressure system is mainly going to meander further southward, then that means that this low pressure system is less likely to bring this warm air further northward to where it could create another unstable environment in this region to maintain its strength and cause more havoc in the United States. But it seems like it's gonna sort of move directly to the west, to the east, and it will lose strength as it does so, since the jet stream will be primarily straightened out at this point. And like I said, it's essentially going to be a cut off low, so it won't really have it won't be under the influence of the jet stream, which would otherwise strengthen the storm, because jet streams usually are strong as a result of high unstable air, and just stark contrast when it comes to temperature. So as a result, this is expected to weaken as it moves further eastward after it brings major snowfall to a lot of the Midwest states. There's still a lot of uncertainty though, because again, I'm forecasting this 5 days out where exactly this could go. Maybe this could turn back up northward, but I think it's interesting to point out that now the computer models are leaning more towards bringing it further southward than initially anticipated, and we have to see if this trend continues over the next several days before I could give a confident answer saying that okay, this will stay further southward. Because of this, so what this means, more southward track, is that the Dakotas are less likely to be affected, as well as Minnesota and a lot of the Great Lakes. So that might be good news for a lot of you guys. However, it seems likely at this point that the Midwest states such as Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, and South Dakota will experience a major snowstorm out of this. So computer model has just been too lenient on bringing just a major snowstorm. They've been too confident and in bringing a major snowstorm to the Midwest, and they just really been very persistent on bringing this storm to the Midwest. And the severe weather will also again be the issue. Like I said, there's going to be strong unstable air. As you can see, the European model does form a little bit of squall lines, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if some of these are severe and you see that this storm, the thunderstorms eventually move further eastward along with the cold air that's going to be behind it. Although I do think the severe weather threat will eventually wind down as again this low pressure system begins to lose its steam as a result of cutting off from the jet stream. So the severe weather threat won't move further eastward, which is good news. But for a lot of the Midwest, there's still expected to be a major severe weather threat, and you need to keep a close eye on that. If we take a look at the bulk shear at around the mid levels of the atmosphere, you're going to see that there's going to be very strong mid-level winds, which represent very high unstable air in the mid levels, which really help induce a lot of these severe thunderstorms. Because when there's high unstable area of high unstable air, that typically means that there's a good chance that very cold air or strong downdrafts are likely to filter into areas where the lift is very strong, and as a result that creates damaging winds, and the updrafts create hail, and the combination of just the change of wind speed or wind direction with height could create tornadoes. So as a result of this, look at how strong this wind shear is, and you might be thinking that, oh, how about in the Northeast? Will there be severe weather thanks to the strong wind shear that's over the Northeast? And to answer that question, no. And the reason why is because the temperature will be too cold in the Northeast to really hold enough water vapor and to really create to make air molecules buoyant enough to create strong updrafts that would create those thunderstorms in the Northeast. The unstable, there's just not going to be enough heat and moisture in the Northeast to create a severe weather threat, unlike in the Midwest where there's going to be plenty since it's going to be close in proximity to the Gulf of Mexico. So as a result, you should expect a major severe weather threat in terms of the timing of when you should expect it. If we take a look at you see day 4 is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's going to pretty much stay over Oklahoma and Arkansas throughout the weekend from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where severe weather is certainly possible for you guys, according to the National Weather Service. So keep that in mind. Damaging winds and hail should primarily be the issue, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see isolated tornadoes as well as a result of the strong wind shear. However, severe weather will not be the only threat for you guys in the southern Midwest states and the Southeast. You also need to deal with the heavy rain associated with this storm, where we do see a very big area of close or in over 5 inches of rain, which is just devastating, especially if you're living nearby a river that's already high. So in Missouri and a lot of those surrounding Midwest states, you need to pay close attention to this because this flooding threat could be major. And since this storm is going to be associated with a lot of thunderstorms, I wouldn't be surprised if flash flooding could also be a major issue with this. You have to keep in mind, guys, that the leading cause of death in the United States is flooding, and I want you guys to stay prepared for that and do not underestimate flooding because it definitely could be deadly, unfortunately. But yeah, just make sure to keep that in mind and stay prepared if you live in a flood zone or in a very flood prone area. But in terms of the snowfall forecasts associated with the snowstorm, you see that in the Midwest, like Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming, I have to say that I've been making these winter weather videos for a very long time. I pretty much started right around November. So, and now we're in March. So it's been right around 3 to 4 months I've been talking about the winter season for the United States. And I have to say that out of all the winter storms we've been tracking this winter, this one takes a cake in terms of how impactful and how much snow it's forecasted to bring. Because if you look right around Denver, Colorado, you just see nearly over 3 feet of snow is expected. I'd say more in the higher elevations, but even in Colorado, over or close to a foot of snow is expected, and a large area of 24 to 36 inches. And like I said, this is as a result of how slow this solar pressure system is going to move and how much unstable air is going to be associated with this, just creating just insanely historic snowstorm for a lot of the Midwest, as it's pretty much a recipe for disaster. Just a slow moving storm that's gonna happen to be in a very unstable environment, and I think this one takes a cake in terms of the sheer amount of snowfall accumulation in such a populated area. I know that this winter there have been areas that received well over 5 feet of snow, such as the higher elevations of California. But in terms of the populated areas involving Colorado and a lot of Midwest states, this one certainly takes a cake as receiving the most snowfall within a populated sector. So this is going to be major. You guys need to prepare now, and because 3 feet of snow is just insane for you guys to experience, for any state to experience, really. And then the rain threat will also be the issue, where 3 to 6 inches expected throughout large areas. So flooding, you need to keep a close eye on that, and severe weather as well. So I think this is definitely going to be historic. You guys need to pay close attention to this and just stay safe throughout the United States headed into this weekend. But anyways, guys, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. I hope you guys have a good day.